every dimension God gives to you, it is your responsibility to identify it, recognize that finger in your life. Don't trivialize it. Don't undermine it. Once upon a time, this person who is charging at a giant, he was tending to the sheep of his father, and a bear will show up. He will use that same capacity and slay the bear, rescue the sheep. A lion will show up. He will charge against the lion. A day is coming where every grace that you continue to service, every grace that you recognize that you were operating within quietness that nobody saw. See, I know you want something very, very massive to happen before you recognize the finger of God. But any grace that you didn't identify in its little form, you will never be able to operate it in large operations. Look at what happened between Elijah and the servant. He prayed, sent him, go and check, nothing, go and check, nothing. On the 7th time, the servant said, I saw a small cloud like the fist of a man, like a small stain in the sky. You know what Elijah said? He says, that's the sign. Now go and tell Ahab. You went outside. Somebody didn't let you pay transport. You were sitting down. You wanted to pay. They say, no, please let me pay for you. You cannot realize yet that it is this same favor that can give you a house. It starts like the fist of a man, but as you nurse it, this is how David will kill a lion. He will kill a bear, but a day is coming. He will confront a giant. This is that same grace at work. It is the same God. See what he told Saul. Saul said, I will not let you go and fight. He told Saul that the God that delivered me from the bear, from the lion, he is able. So it's the same dimension that I bring into this fight. What are you ignoring in your life? What grace of God are you undermining, thinking it does not have any stake? It is the same dream that Joseph used to share that got him into trouble. The same dream that he interpreted. Hi. In Genesis chapter 37, you will find Joseph sharing a dream at home. 2 sets of dreams got him into trouble. In Genesis chapter 40, you will see Joseph sharing a dream with 2 prisoners, co-prisoners with him. And they were both discussing their dreams, 2 dreams, and he's explaining it. Then in Genesis chapter 41, you will see Joseph before Pharaoh, still on the matter of dreams. The journey has always been dreams. This same dream that got you into trouble is the same dream that is your coronation. What grace is in your life that you are undermining? Because everybody will start small, you will grow it. You will harness that grace. You will sharpen it, and then it will take you to the throne. There are those of us here with wisdom, but you never take it serious. When you identify any dimension of God at work in your life, you build an altar to service it. Building an altar in the New Testament context has nothing to do with stones or arranging bricks. Building an altar is about routine. You build a routine around the area of that grace. So there are probably prayer or worship time that is kept particularly on account of this, your prophetic capacity. Hi. See, you went out and you were in a place and many people were struggling for something, and somebody spotted you in the crowd and say, can you bring your own, let me help you do it. And they did it for you. Then you came back and sat down like it is a normal day. Meanwhile, if these things happen to the ancient, they will give God a new name and name him after this performance and begin to service that altar with a routine. So any day they want divine intervention, they will call that name of that day that he showed them that he can bend law for their sake. There are many areas of divine enablement that we ignore. We don't service it, and ultimately we don't walk in greater measures of them. In Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10, the Bible began to show us that do not despise the days of little beginnings. Do not despise the days of little beginnings. It may look small at the moment, but as you continue to service that grace, For some of you, it is wisdom. Don't take it for granted. You stayed with somebody, the person was sharing their predicament, and as you opened your mouth, even you became surprised. The things that left your lip, the person began to shake his head and say, I never saw it in this light before. Thank you so much, sir. Please take this small recharge card. And you say, no, come on. We don't do that for the money. Don't worry. It's not recharge card that will come tomorrow. As you continue to sharpen this grace, what I'm calling grace is the capacity to solve human problems. There will always be problems, but there is something in you that can respond to it. Don't undermine it. There are many people that are focusing on areas that are not their strength. This is why you are busy prophesying and people are saying it's not true. See, your house has a green gate. The person says, no, please, it's a red gate. Now, leave that area since it's not. Amen. What about the spirit of counsel at work in your life? What about the capacity to deflate men of their burden and pressure? That if a person can give you their ear for 5 minutes, they can live feeling okay and better. It's a grace. In fact, in the developed world, people build businesses around these gifts. That a person can come and pay hard-earned money so that they just want you to tell them something. They talk about their problem and you open your mouth and that river starts flowing. Meanwhile, you can trivialize it, but as long as your settlement is concerned, it is inside your gifts that God settled you in time. That is where God settled all your needs. If you explore your gifts, monetary increase will naturally enter your life. If you ignore your gift, you will need to run from pillar to post looking for alternative means to make ends meet. It is the gift of a man that maketh room for him. There is no room for anybody. It is your gift that forces your own room. Where people cannot ignore you, there is something on your life that cannot be ignored. Meanwhile, when David was busy in the wilderness, just imagine a lastborn in a family. A lastborn that should be pampered. A lastborn that should be the object of attention. A lastborn came back and told you guys, yesterday the lion almost ate him, and you still sent him out the next day. Came back again and said, a bear, it was by the grace of God that I survived today. And they say, you mean it? And he said, yes. And the next day they say, when are you going out again? Meanwhile, even at this state of rejection, there was something about the spirit of might that God was building inside his spirit, so that a day will come when even valiants in war, they will fidget, they will become scared. It will be a man. Do you think the fury of a giant, no matter how big he is, can be compared to the fury of a wild animal? That a lion, David said, I held it by its mane and I slew it. There are things God will take you through. It is just to prepare you for the stage. And when you are going through it, there's no audience. Nobody is seeing what is happening. He's building capacity on your inside. A day is coming where many people who have no idea about your secret dealings with God, a challenge will come up. Only your preparation has qualified you to solve. This is why I repeated last week while I was sharing with us, count it all joy when you are going through these things. It's preparing you for greater weights of glory. This is how God increases our capacity through afflictions. He allows certain seasons of shakings to come around us to stretch us, to make us bigger, so that you will now realize that the things you used to run from, now you are telling them, is this your best? Is this the best you have? There are people who used to be so scared about praying in the night, and I have had the chance to counsel many of them. They said they don't want any problem. That, the night is for some people, so there's no need to interfere with the airways in the night, so that if I mind my business, they will mind their business, everybody is okay. When they now came, after minding their business, they now came with attacks still. And I'll say, this minding your business thing, they will still come. Amen? Okay, see. Just imagine you are praying in the night. Then you now heard one small sound by your window. Do you realize that your prayer style will change? You start thanking God. Lord, I thank you because you are the Alpha, you are the Omega. There is none like you. You are God. Nothing can challenge you. Now, why you are reminding God of all is fear. Is fear. You will start summarizing your prayer. And the reason behind it is because as long as that dimension of God is concerned, you have not found the shout of a king. There is something that keeps you ever ready for collision. If the devil try you, there is a response. That is where the shout of a king is. They are not fidgeting. They are not victims. There is the cry of a warrior king is with them. It is almost like there is a king riding ahead of them in valiant display. So their morale is always high. That's the person that just hears you complaining that for the past 3 days now I have not been able to sleep. He does not wait to hear why are you not sleeping. He just says, let us pray. Did you remember Solemn Assembly? There was something that happened that made me laugh. A woman just came out and said, for some time now I've not been able to use my... That healing evangelist said, what? Come here. There is no need for long explanation. It is the shout of a king. That is what makes you to become reactive anytime things begin to go out of place. You are not sitting there looking for somebody to pity you, looking for somebody to come and join hands with you. You already know that he that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. So you are always on the offense. Because the shout of the king is among us. Tonight, I want to announce it once again because I know you already know. There is no place in this world for people who just want to live a life without conflict. I'm looking for a word. I'm looking for a word. There is no place for what? Okay, it's only God that can help me. There's no place for soft people. Let me put it that way. You see this thing that want you to do, level things. You just wake up and say, Kai, I don't know why. I don't just feel like praying. Prayer is not feeling. I don't know why. Anytime I say I will fast, it's that day that hunger will now be worrying me fast. Who have time for that thing you are talking about? Meanwhile, this thing you are describing, you are not the only one. Anybody that chooses to fast, they do that with a deliberate effort. It takes violence to prosecute anything. You will bully your flesh. Your flesh will rebel. You will lock him up. By 12, he will say he's not with you. If we are going to handle anything concrete in God, there is a dimension of God that has been bestowed to you that you must discover and sharpen. I don't know what is at work in your own life, but whatever it is, find it, sharpen it, and begin to operate it deliberately. A time will come, men will begin to associate that dimension to your name because you have grown in the measure over time. Maybe now it's people who have headache and small stomach pain here and there. When you lay hands on them, you ask them, do you still feel the headache? They say, the headache has gone to this other side. You now touch the other side. They say it's at the back. You touch it. Then they say it's okay. Now, that thing that is healing headache, it can heal cancer. It is to what extent did you sharpen it? You minister to that grace. Those of us with the favor of God upon our life, some of us is the mercy, the sure mercies of David is at work in you. Are refusing to acknowledge what is in your life. Your eye is in things that has not been given yet. That which is already in your hand, you have not maximized it. Please say, I will find what God has given me and I will sharpen it. As we continue to be deliberate about maximizing God's deposit in our life, you will realize that your greatest rewards, your greatest peace will come from the area of your grace. That's where That's the only place your difference in this world is. The universities will produce many copies of you. You say that you graduated maybe with a first class, and that's your confidence. There are many first class graduates. You say you are the first Igala first class. There are several Igala first class before you. You now say that the manager of the company is from your local government. There are over 230 people that are from your local government. They put one vacancy, 1,000 people applied. In that 1,000 people, everybody met the criteria. Then 230 are from your local government. Then you now say, okay, my father has the number of the man who, there are more than 50 fathers that also have numbers that called. When you now show up that day, that's where you would wish you have something divine. Something that is not routed from the arm of the flesh. So that it is only by that economy there is something that differentiates you. Don't trivialize the area of your grace. That is where God really settled you. That is where arguments stop. In the day where there is all kinds of competition, it is your grace that sets you apart. The end of inferiority complex is realizing your grace. You know that I may not be good in all areas, but if it's this thing, you can find God with me here. What has God given to you? What has God deposited upon your life? For Israel, they had not had the opportunity to learn so much of God. Just came out of captivity. But the shout of a king. It was a dimension they kept it all the time. If they wanted to go to war, they would carry the Ark of Covenant with them as a proof that we brought our God to war. Brother, bring every spiritual advantage that God has laid in your life. Bring it into these seasons. That's the only way we can make headway. That's the only way something divine can find expression from your life. Because, like I said earlier, there is no room for anybody. It is the gift of God upon your life that maketh room for you. I graduated, I think 2017. I completed my MSc. I had not collected my degree nor my MSc from ABU, but I had worked 4 jobs that are heavily demanded. I had worked 4 jobs that require serious documentation, and all came by recommendation. Somebody just choosing to stake their integrity, bypass process, and look for you and say, come and resume. So it means that even if I was not educated, the favor of God will still bypass this process. I don't care what excuse look legitimate to you. It's because of this thing that I am like this. There is something in your life that has capacity to make room for you. That somebody can call you and say, I don't know if you know anybody of character that we can trust with this. Meanwhile, the person calling you, he has many relatives. See, don't ignore your grace. Don't ignore it. One day, you will use that grace like they... Okay, just look at the case of Joseph that I've been making reference to. Who would have ever said that interpreting dreams will make you a prime minister? How do you correlate these things? It was the same old area of grace. It was not even anything flamboyant. So people who have to sleep, dream, and they have to even meet you. They have to be generous enough to disclose their dream to you before you can even start your ministry. Joseph told the baker of Pharaoh, told the cupbearer of Pharaoh, interpreted their dreams. The cupbearer was restored. The baker was hung, as the interpretation was. The cupbearer forgot Joseph for nothing less than 2 years. He was left in the dungeon 2 years. The only thing he has is interpretation of dreams. One day, that your gift that you are not taking serious One day, that gift that does not look flamboyant, I know in your eye, is, if only I can just tell people their phone numbers. Lord, so this is why we are on the mountain. Open my eyes. And what he is crying for is not access to light and revelation. No, it's to the secret things of men. Lord, what is his account number? Oh, thou who keeps light, can you show me the color of his singlet? Then you now see somebody telling God, Lord, don't fail me here, don't fail me. I have already spoken your word. You are the one that sent yourself. Okay, see something that happened. I was minding my business, loving God, and walking in the light of what is revealed per time. A brother called me in the hot afternoon, and I was hearing prayer in the background. That prayer was going on. So he called me and said, Apostle, please join my faith. Rather, join your faith with mine. I am in front of a dead body now. In my mind, I say, wait. So what is going on here now is that he went by himself to go and pray for the dead. His faith now became low. In order to save face and to escape honorably, he now wants to convince the people who are the audience and spectators there that, let me even call another grace so that you will see that all of us, you see this thing. Then in the heat of joining my faith with him, he will now say, so what we'll do now is that I said, where are you? He said, in the mortuary. I said, what did you go to do there? He said, he went to pray for the dead. I said, did God speak to you? He said, yes. I said, trust him. Trust him. Trust him. Join your faith with me. Don't let men drag you into seasons that God has not guided your feet into. Meanwhile, if he entered there like a cherub, where is the dead person? Everybody leave this place. Now they leave you, only you are praying, the body is becoming more cold. Listen, look for the grace God gave you. Stay. Have you seen Miles Muro? Till he died, he was honing from wisdom. You will hardly see him do miracle campaign. He used wisdom and he mastered nations. Presidents were his mentees. Wisdom. When he found his place, he sharpened it. Why are you looking here and there? Lord, what did you put upon my life? Look for that thing, sharpen it. A demand is coming very soon. There is a challenge only your area of grace can solve. Now, am I saying that we should not trust God for multiple expressions of his grace upon our life? I'm not saying so. I'm saying part-time. Start building from the areas of your strength. Then build into new heights. There are many people here, the wisdom of God that is at work in your life, if you can just put your thoughts on paper, it will fly to nations. You try to talk to people verbally, it's not flowing well. But if you start penning your thoughts down, there's a way the thing flows. It's already a sign. It's a sign. Start dispensing your revelations through articles, through write-ups. Before you know it, the nations, they will look for you. But men are distracted. It's the things that are not your strength. That is where you want to go to. I told a brother recently, I saw that he is so gifted. When he prays for the sick, in no time you will see instant healing. But he loves preaching. He loves to preach. And his preaching grace is not as sharp as the manifestation of the supernatural. I said, why don't you organize healing campaigns? Why don't you organize crusades and put this grace on display? You will now stay struggling in a place that is not where you were strengthened. Despise not the days of little beginnings. Every one of you here, there is something God has put in your life. Look for it, sharpen it, and begin to dispense it deliberately. You will find out that in no time, your increase will appear to all. You are not vulnerable. You are not weak. You are not without help. You have been equipped with everything you need from the studios of eternity. Your only duty is to explore it, look for it, find it. The kingdom, he said, is like a man that found a treasure in a field. He went and sold everything he has to acquire that field. To enter into the full manifestation of your gift, it will cost you. It will cost you. You will discover it. You will sharpen it.